A beautiful day turned nightmare in Willow Creek. The sun was shining, the birds were chirping, and everything seemed perfect in Willow Creek. Jennifer had just moved into the quaint suburb, a place straight out of a picture book. The neighbors were overly friendly, the lawns perfectly manicured, and every morning, a cheerful voice on the community intercom declared, "It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood." Jennifer wasn't used to such enthusiasm, felt forced like everyone was trying too hard. But she shook it off. Maybe it was just her cynicism. After all, she'd moved here for a fresh start. Her first week went smoothly. People waved as she passed by, offering homemade pies and casseroles. There was Mr. and Mrs. Porter from across the street, always gardening together. The Barrows next door, who had two eerily quiet children. And old Mr. Lewis, who sat on his porch, always smiling. Too much smiling, Jennifer thought. One evening, Jennifer noticed something odd. She had gone for a walk, hoping to clear her mind, but the streets were empty. Not a single person was outside, even though it was only 7 p.m. The houses looked different. The windows seemed darker, almost black, and the once inviting porches seemed to lean toward her, as if watching. She picked up her pace, glancing over her shoulder. The perfect houses now felt like rows of silent sentinels. When she reached her driveway, she spotted Mr. Lewis sitting on his porch as usual. "Out a little late, aren't you, dear?" he said, his toothy smile unchanged. Jennifer hesitated. "It's not even dark yet." His smile faltered for a fraction of a second. "Best to be inside before it's too late." Jennifer rushed into her house, locking the door behind her. The night passed fitfully, her dreams filled with shadowy figures and that unwavering, toothy smile. The next day, the intercom boomed its usual greeting, "It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood." Jennifer sighed, deciding to push away her unease. She spent the day unpacking, ignoring the growing feeling that something was wrong. That night, the unease became terror. Jennifer woke to a faint tapping sound. First, she thought it was the wind, but when it persisted, she got up to investigate. Pulling back the curtain, she froze. A group of neighbors stood on her lawn, staring up at her window. Their faces were pale, their smiles impossibly wide, their eyes empty pits, ultimately leading to her terrifying discovery of their true intentions and her own transformation into one of them. "What the hell?" she whispered, stepping back. Her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "It's time to join us, Jennifer. You've been chosen." Her breath hitched as a knock sounded at the door. She crept to the peephole, expecting to see one of her neighbors. Instead, there was nothing but darkness. Yet, the knocking continued, louder and faster. Panicking, Jennifer grabbed her keys and bolted out the back door. She sprinted down the eerily quiet street, the air thick with an unnatural stillness. When she glanced back, the group was following her, moving unnaturally fast despite their stiff, mannequin-like movements. She reached the edge of the neighborhood, where the streetlights abruptly stopped. Beyond them was pure blackness, like the world ended there. She hesitated, and that's when she heard it. A voice from the intercom. "It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Come back, Jennifer. Stay forever." She turned, and the neighbors were there, surrounding her, their faces stretched into grotesque parodies of joy. Her screams echoed into the void. The next morning, the intercom boomed. "It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Please welcome our newest neighbor, Jennifer." In the middle of the cul-de-sac, Jennifer stood, smiling unnaturally wide, her eyes too dark, empty pits. Jennifer was finally home,